In my humble opinion, Arsenal fans, Merry Christmas, by the way. But yeah, in my humble opinion, we've got a new problem. It's not really a new problem, but you could say it is. Now, bear with me and stay with me and smash the like button. Obviously, Arsenal and what we do in the final third, we've been spoiled as Arsenal fans, throughout the years, Arsenal fans, young and old. If you look at this present Arsenal side, we score a bunch of goals. End of the last couple of years, we're up there with Europe's best. But I think it's fair to say for everyone, you know what we do in defense. You know it's intriguing in midfield. For whatever reason, we're underperforming in attack, even though Saka is doing his thing. One does wonder. You put the handbrake down and, we go back to Wenger ball or what we were specifically in the final third. What would Saka look like? I said it in the summer. Gyökeres, Eze is great. Zubamendi as well, indirectly. But it's like buying new clothes. You've got to know how to iron. You've got to know how to style. You've got to know how to put your clothes on, essentially. I do feel in the last few games, though, so from Wolves onwards, literally from Wolves onwards, there has been a reaction. It's still not where we want it to be, 1,000,000%. But if you look at Wolves and then Everton and Palace, and I'm probably missing out a game, you are seeing us getting behind a bit more. You are seeing those relationships start to build. You are seeing us, it's not to where it needs to be, but create chances. And that could still go a long way, but convert. The hardest thing to do in football is score goals, and we're making it tough, innit? And ultimately, you don't kill games. You give teams an opportunity to get something out of it. Now, granted, we won the penalty shootout, but we've seen against Liverpool in the FA Cup a couple of years ago, we didn't finish our dinner. We went out. We saw in the penalty shootout against Manchester United in that same competition in the FA Cup, didn't finish our dinner. We went out. So I do think we're creating and convert. We're creating chances. We need to learn how to convert. Don't get it twisted, though. In the final third, of course, there's a lot to, as I keep saying, there's a lot that needs to be improved. Clearly, people, sometimes the passes are under hit or over hit. We're crossing to the near post when you should be finding the far post. Couple of chances like Martinelli against Brighton. Jesus, he would have been great in his 100th appearance if he bags. And then, you give another team an opportunity to breathe. That's also another issue. Whether it's been our strongest team or not, don't shoot me, Arsenal fans. But we were up here defensively. And for this season, we've been here in it, which is still better than most. But I'm looking at our high standards. I think when everyone's fit, we've been conceding some cheap goals. Granted, every goal could be classified as a cheap goal, especially for a team with Mikel Arteta and his coaching staff. We're so big on defending the players as well. But football's decided in both ends. Managers can have tactics, inverted this, false nine that, winger swapping, which we don't really see. I do feel, though, if we move from the attack and the defense, and then don't get it twisted, the defense is part of the attack. The attack is part of our defense. Game management, we're conceding an alarming amount of cheap and late goals. Aston Villa, Wolves comes to mind. Crystal Palace comes to mind. Sunderland comes to mind. We're the best defensive side in the world, arguably, at this moment in time. 15 minutes away from winning a game where a draw was a fair result against an informed Sunderland. You better see that out. Neither here nor there. I think we need to get back to our high standards defensively. Clearly, there's some things that need to go on in the final third. I also, speaking of that as well, midfield, because I love Declan Rice. It's nothing to do with Declan Rice. It's isolating it away from Declan Rice. Declan Rice is a great player, does everything. He's showing more aspects of himself in the final third, but he's up there for big chances. On paper, he's not a creative player. That should be Eze, Odegaard, this one, that one. Creativity should be in abundance. We should be creating from everywhere. We should aspire to have what City has. We know about David Raya's ball playing ability. How many times have you seen Edison pop it over the top and they'll score a goal? Fullbacks are creating, midfield are creating. There's more to come. There's more to come from Rice and Zubamendi individually, and also for the gaffer, whoever the hell's in the 10, the left-hand side, the right-hand side. You get where I'm going, people. Big up Calafiori, because for me, owing to Hincapie's injury, I can't lie, man. Not that we've got anything else to try, unless we throw Norgard in there. We finally got some minutes. Calafiori at centre half. You're not going to get there ahead of Gabriel Magalhaes, but I was shocked by the maturity of Calafiori. He's like an Italian bull in a china shop at times. He's very mature. Is it time to move Calafiori to left-sided centre-half and obviously bring Miles Lewis-Skelly in, especially if there's anything around, Hincapie and he's not back for Brighton at the weekend? Let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to smash the like button. And you know what, Arsenal fans? We do a lot of moaning. Obviously, there are warning signs. There are things we could do better. We need to chase the illusion of perfection, really. Really struggled to accept that we lost to Liverpool because I think the gaffer could have changed things in the second half. Really struggled to accept that we drew against Manchester City because I think the gaffer could have changed things in the first half. Actually, if we approached the first half like the second, we win that game. Everyone's a genius in hindsight. I know Sunderland, cool, a point. They were in form. You can't win them all. We know we're not going to do that. But I've alluded to that previously. Chelsea, one of the worst performances of the season. If I'm honest with you, I think we were timid. I think the gaffer and the players got it wrong, and I think the gaffer and the players got it wrong in Sunderland as well. So there's sometimes I think it's on the gaffer, sometimes on the player. 9 times out of 10, it's everybody. Aston Villa, it was a shit show in it, and we should have walked away with a point. I get it. Aston Villa, another informed side, they won the game. And I've been alluding to Crystal Palace, but where you deep it, people, we've had 3 draws, 2 losses, and W's. Now it's about what we do beyond that point. Now it's about how we go on. Now we've got a good platform. Merry Christmas once again. We're topping the leagues, Champions League and Premier League. Obviously, we're through to the League Cup. We hope to get through in the FA Cup against Portsmouth. It's what we want to do now. It's what we want to do. We've got here. We've done the first phase. I always say from August, you need to make it to the end of the year, still having those talking points. I don't need to tell you lot who we've got on the weekend. We've got Brighton, in no order, Brighton, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Manchester United. There's a bunch of games, cut Bournemouth away. Hopefully, Semenyo's completed that move to Manchester City. I do want to also ask you on the Semenyo point, yeah? If Manchester City sign Semenyo, do they win the league? So, yeah, we've got a platform. Let's just take the good and make it great. Address the areas of concerns, pattern up, and hopefully in May there's a parade. And obviously for Mikel Arteta, the medical team, the players, listen, I'm not a physio. I've got a fly on the wall. There's different reasons for injury. Some of it is load management, overloading, obviously unlucky occupational hazards of football. You're going to get injured on a football pitch from time to time. I don't know what it is. It's not my business to know. What I do know is we've got more players, and it's starting to feel like there's something more to it because it feels like last season where there's a bunch of injuries. So pattern this up, people. So yeah, man. And again, if Man City signs Semenyo, do you think they win the Premier League? So we're doing now, right? What is this? Arsenal's dream summer, people. And apparently there's, yeah, you could bring out who wouldn't want Bawardi from Lyon. We have been linked with 2 players as well in I cannot say that name, but Davide Bertizaghi, who's a left back earning a lot of plaudits. I wouldn't be against it if I'm honest with you. Lorenzo Torani, a AC Milan goalie. Again, Arsenal have not come out and said who we're pursuing and things, but we're getting linked with a lot of keepers, despite obviously having Tommy Setford established as our 3rd choice. Carl Hein, technically in the ranks, probably moves on. Kepa is our 2nd choice, and obviously Raya. So maybe there's something in that, people. Maybe potentially there's something in that we're not privy to. There was also something around 3 players who could leave Arsenal. Should I just type it in? Oh, there we go. Brilliant. 3 players who could leave Arsenal. Before we look at this, do you not think anybody could leave Arsenal in January? Do you think it's sanctionable? But 3 players who could leave Arsenal as Andrea Berta eyes January transfer window fire sell. Okay, you can sell everything you want, and it might make sense financially, but we've seen the injuries. You can never have too many players type of thing. So let's see. Oh, well, obviously, Nwaneri had a breakthrough season of sorts last year. The 18-year-old signed a 5-year deal, and he struggled for minutes, rightly or wrongly. I do feel there's no truth in Nwaneri. I do think the clamour is a bit unwarranted to a degree because he hasn't exactly performed the greatest over 90 minutes. But I expect that with an 18-year-old. Where I'm with it is the cup games are him. I understand you've got Odegaard, you've got Eze. We're trying to win. At the end of the day, if these are the better players for the team, they are. Obviously, we brought in Madueke, who's going to push Nwaneri further down the pecking order at right wing. Obviously, in centre midfield, you're competing indirectly or directly with Rice, with Zubamendi, with Mikel Merino, with Eze, with Kai Havertz. The list goes on. I do think, regardless of that, Nwaneri needs more minutes. I want to see Arteta do with Nwaneri what Wenger used to do. You can get 10, 15 minutes here left wing. You can come off the bench right wing. You could get an occasional start in the 10, especially where Eze and Odegaard, we know they're better than Nwaneri, but they're not exactly grabbing the shirt. Get some opportunities. Like he could get more minutes is what I'm alluding to, but you get where I'm going. Alone wouldn't be the worst. It wouldn't be the worst decision in January. It's difficult to learn a new system and join a new team because he's probably not match fit, like proper match fit for continuous 90 minutes because he ain't been exposed to that. You'd have to learn a new team's dynamic. They're challenging for what they're challenging for. You do see some people go on loan. They start well. There's pressure on the loan club's manager. They take them out the side. But at the end of the day, minutes are currency to a degree in it. So I understand if he could go and get 20 odd appearances, that puts you in better stead. And obviously, it's a long season. We don't know. I'm hoping Nwaneri gets an opportunity. I'm hoping all of my attackers start to go up the levels in the second half of the season. But for me, he is a body. Probably part that off. If this kind of remains to the end of the season, next summer you need to go on loan. And to be fair, to question my own logic, you could look at Pep Guardiola with Phil Foden, and it's not the same, but maybe mimic that with Mikel Arteta and Nwaneri. For me, Nwaneri is the only player I feel could leave. Yes, Martinelli's going to be linked with moves. I don't think that's happening. Trossard the same. Gabriel Jesus the same. Stranger things have happened, but I just don't think that Nwaneri is the only one I'll read. I'll read some element of truth into it, if it makes sense. Miles Lewis Skelly's not going nowhere, man. Unless you bring in another left back, or they offer something stupid for Miles Lewis Skelly, or he says I want to leave, which I don't think is going to happen. So seems a bit of creative journalism, if I'm brutally honest with you guys, people. So yeah, we're still being linked with Davide Berezaghi, so it is what it is. And I did read this article. Arsenal have a big creativity problem with Eze and Odegaard. I want to know you lot's thoughts. Do you play them both? Do you drop Odegaard for Eze? Do you bring Nwaneri in? Whichever one, and on top of that, whichever one you pick or put your hat on, how does Mikel Arteta actually put the handbrake down and find that balance with what we do in midfield and defense, and obviously in the final third? Do you think he's actually done that? And in the recent weeks, it's more on the players. Let me know your thoughts, people.